From the station that brings you the World Cup commitment, this is Talk Radio, the 1998 KPMG commercial radio station of the year. Tommy Boyd.
We're such a churlish nation. We know it. We say it about ourselves over and over again. People who crack it, people who get somewhere, people who do something with their lives. They spend about, 6 weeks at the top, and then they turn around and they tell us a home truth, which is that we set people up to knock them down. We should be more like the Americans. We should be more like the Germans, the Japanese, well, every other nation on earth, if you stop and think about it. When somebody achieves something unbelievable and they are British, we should be the first, second and last people to be up on tippy toes giving them a round of applause. As it is, we're the first ones to put the boot in. The Americans think that Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, because this man really does need a PR makeover, if you ask me, the Americans think that Andrew Lloyd Webber is the bee's knees of the musical. This is the nation that practically did invent the musical, didn't they? Didn't they invent the stage musical? Didn't they invent the film musical? Hadn't they given us all the best musicals ever? We all know our Rodgers and Hammerstein. Have they got anybody now who is remotely as successful as Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber? No, no, no. But, sir, driving along, if your wife told you when you got in this evening that she'd been given 2 tickets to go and see an Andrew Lloyd Webber, you would necessarily feign the mumps, wouldn't you? You would. And you're not right to do it. It's not fair. He writes great drama. He writes great music. He writes great lyrics. Look, he does, whether you like it or not, he does. So the big question, because we're anthropologists, we're psychologists, we're sociologists in the afternoon, sat around the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, we have to ask the question, why? Why is it that everybody thinks it's all right, well, most people think it's all right to sort of vaguely snigger a bit about Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber? Why? We do actually know the answer, but let's have it out loud. Why? Why? Because, there's more to life than good looks. Free call 0500 1053 89. I've been to see Cats. You've been to see one of his musicals. Everybody has seen one of his musicals. Everybody can hum at least one Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber song. Now, I can't think of anybody besides the Beatles of whom the same thing can be said. Because not everybody could hum a Rolling Stones song, and not everybody could hum a Hammers and Rogerstein song. But everybody can hum. Look, let me demonstrate. Here, now, okay. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. Nobody's going, what? Everybody is... Exactly my point. This man is one of the great British. He's even got a double-barreled name, so he couldn't possibly be more British. That's how people abroad expect British people to be. They expect British people to be like Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, to have a double-barreled surname, to live in a country mansion, to collect extremely expensive paintings just because they want to, and to have a string of racehorses, each of which cost £750,000, but very few of whom actually win races. And to have had at least one wife who was once a glamorous disco dancing showgirl. What a life! What a life! It's probably men who, generally speaking, enjoy sniggering a bit about Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. Why? We're jealous, aren't we? Would you trade places with Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber? Of course you would. Be honest. Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm Tommy Boyd, setting the record straight on perhaps the greatest living Englishman, Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Talk to Tommy Boyd. Free call 0500 1053 89. 0500 1053 89.
This Friday, we're celebrating Talk Radio's wireless wedding when Sue Backhouse and John Barry become the first couple ever to be married live on national commercial radio. And it's all happening in the wonderful hour. I'll be joined by Tara Newley, and from 2 o'clock we'll be live at the romantic 900-year-old Amberley Castle in Sussex, talking to everyone involved in making Sue and John's wireless wedding a very special occasion. Celebrity hairstylist Trevor Sorby will be helping Sue and her bridesmaids look sensational, and after the ceremony, pressed flower designs are framing her bouquet, while Halesowen Fireworks perform a spectacular firework display for Sue and John in the grounds of the castle. Have your confetti ready and join us on Friday for the biggest event of the year, Talk Radio's wireless wedding. It's nearly 3:15. And we're celebrating Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. And Doug calls from London. Doug, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon. Doug, hi.
Hello.
Doug.
Yeah, the man has achieved a tremendous amount, although I think Tim Rice helped him when he got started. You shouldn't forget him, because he made the first couple of million for him to plough back into the rest of it. But it's the tabloids that have done it, haven't they? I mean, they know that he's worldwide famous. They know that he can't answer back. It's the same old story. They pick on human weakness, and they've said they think people will say, right, well, they'll turn on him now that they made him up. I mean, that is the game they play. They don't do it in the States. They don't do it in Europe. They don't do it in Japan. You know, our tabloids are more of a disgrace to the newspaper industry than Lloyd Webber ever is to the music industry.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, but, you know, it's not just the newspapers. In fact, you don't actually see much knocking copy about Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. In fact, in the gossip columns, most of the newspaper columnists like to make out that they're good pals with him. No, it's something that tends to go on down the pub, really. Yeah,
but it's come out of that. It's come out of that tabloid mentality. I mean, you go back now, he's been going 20, 25, 30 years. He went through a really bad patch where he couldn't make a move. Every time a new show come out, they were at him. All right, he's passé now because they've moved on to other people. They're always looking for, they're like parasites, aren't they? Looking for something new all the time.
Well, I never read any of the knocking copy of any of these shows. Which ones did they knock then?
I can remember.
Which one?
Well, the shows that people used to queue up round the block to get in the shows, so they couldn't say they weren't successful. But then they dug round and they said, he's plagiarised this piece of music, he's plagiarised that. They've sort of tried to find something like an underside that they can get at. And
I don't remember any of that. I've got to tell you that I think it's mainly a grassroots thing, and I think it's very unfair.
I've seen him at rock and roll shows, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I saw him with Sarah Brightman at one of these rock and roll shows, and I think he's an all-round all-right bloke. I mean, he has nicked a couple of tunes here and there, but I think
no, he hasn't.
Well, I think you'll find that, I don't want to get on the same bandwagon, but because I think he's a successful bloke.
Well, I think he writes great tunes, and he writes nice stories, and he's having a fantastic life.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't swap with him? You'd swap with him.
Yeah, right. But then why do the editors look round and say, well, we'll have him?
Look, we've discussed this. It's not the editors. It's a grassroots thing.
I do a lot of pop music stuff, Tom, and I've got cut-ins where they've ripped him to pieces because they had a blank day, and they thought, we'll have him because
What do you cut out bits from the newspaper on Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber for?
No, I do a lot of pop research and that, and I know about the history of pop music and that's one of my sidelines, so I know how they've been at him over the years.
Read me one out then.
Well, I ain't got one here at the moment, but...
Where are they then?
Well, they're in the office, aren't they?
Which office?
Well, where I do me work. I'm having a break at the moment, sitting in my kitchen having a coffee, like you said, exactly.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, they have had it...
No, it's a grassroots thing, man. It's a grassroots thing.
Yeah, but listen, a grassroots things come from what people read. You go down the pub...
No, I don't agree with that.
Listen,
no. People aren't stupid.
Why do they go to see the shows and then come back and say he's crap? They don't do it. They go and see the shows and say it's a good show.
Yeah, of course they do. But generally speaking, men, when they get together, gently mock Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, but people have a go at Gazza. They do have a go at anyone, don't they? They have a laugh.
No, that simply isn't true, man. They do not have a go at anybody. They do not have a go at anybody.
Plenty of scapegoats they've had a go at. You could come out with a long list of them.
Yeah, but there's always a reason for it.
The reason is because the sun is in the back pocket when they walk in the pub.
No, listen to me. No, listen to me. Look, you've got a bee in your bonnet. You're an obsessive. What are you?
Like you, Tom, an obsessive.
Yeah, you're an obsessive. What am I obsessive about?
What are you, Tom?
What am I obsessive about?
Well, whatever you pick up on, you write
What? Give me an example of something I'm obsessive about, then.
Well, you got whatever subject you pick up on.
Well, give me one, then. Give me one thing you're obsessive about the influence of the tabloids.
Right, you're obsessive, then, about whether Kent is flatter than anywhere else in Britain. You gave that bloke a hard time, and
No.
I thought he had a good point.
No, that's an argument that I'm making. You're obsessive about the idea that the tabloids are responsible for everything.
I'm making a point is
The
that...
flaw in your argument
I'll tell you
is...
something,
the flaw
Tom.
in your argument
Yeah.
is that you are somebody who doesn't believe the tabloids,
Doesn't need a lot of proving, does it?
but...
Doesn't need a lot of proving, mate.
But like everybody, you believe that other people are influenced by the tabloids.
You have only got to look and listen. I'll tell you what, you look at the agendas that are set every day, even on talk radio. Let's see what's in the papers and talk about it. That is exactly what comes up, innit? And it's the same down the pub.
But Doug, if I went into the pub, right,
Yeah.
and met anybody who wanted to start a conversation based on something he'd read in the newspaper, I would be right round to the snug. Like that. And so would anybody with any common or garden.
It's what it might not go on too long, but it's what comes up as a topic, because it'll say, have you read this?
You got to widen your social circle. You got to
I
meet
listen- I
people.
listen to talk radio, mate.
You got to meet. Yeah, well, you got to widen your social circle. That's not your social circle. That's not your social circle. We're not your friends. I'm not your friend.
No, ain't you? What are you then?
I'm on the radio.
Well, you ain't me
I'm not
enemy,
your
are you?
friend. I'm not your friend. I said your social circle. You've got to get more pals. You've got to find people who are prepared to talk
I'm
about
not short
something
of
other than
pals.
what's in the paper.
What I like is to debate something and get the truth out of it. And the truth is...
No, you don't.
They don't tell news, they set agendas.
No, you
and
don't.
They pick on Lloyd Webber.
No, you don't. You like to have an argument with somebody and bang on about your obsession.
Well, you've come up with an agenda, and
Yes.
now you're trying to back out of it.
Well, you start your agenda then.
The agenda is why Lloyd Webber has had a rough time. He hasn't had a rough time off no one except off the tabloids who get at him when it suits them. You watch out, mate. The next time a new show comes round, you watch it, and I'll be back on telling you about it.
Oh, I hope you're not. Oh, God, preserve us. Please save me from a fate worse. Doug in London, it's not the tabloids. The tabloids don't have any influence over us whatsoever, do they? They don't have any influence over me. They don't have any influence over you. I've never met anybody who believed they were influenced remotely by the news agenda that anybody else sets. Not one, but a lot of people think that other people are that stupid. Free call 0500 10 53 89. We're celebrating Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. He never gets his just desserts. Oscar calls from London. You're on Talk Radio. Oscar.
Tommy, Lloyd Webber is an all-round genius.
He is.
He's a great Englishman.
Yeah.
When he's gone, God forbid, everybody will be talking about him in the same breath as Mozart.
You're right.
Have you seen, and what about all the jobs he's created for people in this country?
Nobody gives them the credit for that
He's
he
brought
deserves.
musical theatre
Yeah.
to everybody, all the joy and happiness he's brought through music, worldwide, Broadway, don't forget Broadway, as well as the West End, Phantom of the Opera, Cats.
He's made Britain the home of the musical.
And he's a great ambassador as well for this country.
Yeah. You go back 50 years, and we'd never had a composer in this country.
No.
Germany had Mozart and Beethoven.
Yeah.
And Italy had Verdi.
We had Benjamin Britten, I think, didn't we?
It's about the size of it. But what can you hum of his?
Well, I don't know anything of his, to be honest.
There's my point.
He's great. Oh, I'll tell you what, one thing I do envy him for, though.
Yeah?
Catching Sarah Brightman. Wasn't she great in Pants People?
Smashing lady.
She is wonderful. She sings like an angel as well, doesn't she? I couldn't believe how wonderful she sang when I first heard her.
Hot Gossip.
Yeah, after Hot Gossip, you know.
No, Hot Gossip, not Pan's People, it was Hot Gossip.
Was it Hot Gossip? Yeah, Hot Gossip, yeah.
Kenny Everett. I know.
Wasn't it wonderful, Tommy? Oh, it brings back happy memories.
I lost my heart.
I lost my heart, yeah.
To a Starship Trooper.
Yeah, definitely.
He wrote that.
Wasn't she great?
He wrote that
she
for
still
her.
is.
She still is. He wrote that for her.
Yeah.
Thanks for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Andrew Lloyd Webber. All round top Brit. But why don't we say so? Why have we got to leave it to the rest of the world? I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Free call 0500 10 53 89.
Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber. I wish I was him. Don't you, Dave, in Woking? You're on Talk Radio.
Hi, Tom. Yeah,
Dave.
the essential reason that Lloyd Webber is ridiculed in this country is not because he's successful or because he's talentless. It's because he looks funny. He's got a stupid sort of upper-class voice and the most ridiculous hairstyle that anybody has ever seen. If he was like one of the blokes, if he was sort of like a normal-looking guy with a normal kind of voice,
Yeah.
I think people would think, yeah, top man, that Webber, great talent.
Hang on. Phil Collins is funny looking.
Not
everybody-
that funny looking,
He
come
is.
on.
No, he is. Phil Collins is funny looking, but the point is this, right? Everybody thinks he's a top geezer.
No, they don't.
It's because he's working class.
He's not working class. He went to public school. That's
Who
one of the
did?
great contricks of the late 20th century, him
Phil
making
Collins
out
went
he's
to-
working class.
Phil Collins went to public school?
He did.
No.
The whole lot. They all met. All the Genesis band, they met
No.
at public school.
And
It's a complete con
And
act.
apparently it was the same with the Rolling Stones. They all went to public school.
Yeah, there's no such thing as working class pop stars, really.
So
It's
when-
all a bit of a fallacy. It's a pose. But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think you can compare the two. Collins is not incredibly popular either,
No.
but he's not funny looking in the same way as Webber, and at least he talks like a normal chap. It's the hair, really. If he'd never got that ridiculous hairstyle, he probably could have just about got away with it. He's such an easy guy to poke fun at, isn't he?
We're getting very close to an important aspect of what it is to be a bloke here, Dave, you know, and I'm glad you called, because there he is with his enormous success. And he's done very well, hasn't he, with his money? And with his talent? And with his ladies? I mean, there's been at least one time in his life when you'd have happily swapped places, wouldn't you?
No, I would never ever swap places
What,
with anyone
because
that
of
looks
his
like
haircut?
that. I wouldn't care, no.
Because of his haircut?
I would rather be poor, honestly. No, all the money in the world would not buy me a face and a hairstyle like that.
Oh, Dave, you're so blokish.
It's vain, it might be shallow, but I couldn't
Right.
bear going through life looking like that. you
I
know.
think that a lot of women listening to this, you know, have learned something about men because they couldn't quite understand why we didn't like the bloke. Well, you shouldn't dislike somebody just because he isn't a matinee idol, you know.
I don't know. It's not it's not because of it's not just because he's ugly. I mean, you'd feel sorry for him for that, really, if he had any heart. It's the hairstyle and the voice. I can't. I'd love to be able to impersonate his voice, but it's a long time since I've heard him talk. But it's a voice you don't forget. He's such a weedy, bullyable little man. He's the sort of guy that if he'd gone to a comprehensive school
Yes.
in any inner city, he would have been crucified.
But would it have done him good?
No, probably not. No, he'd probably become psychotic.
Does a little bit of bullying do some boys a bit of good?
No, because it turns them into bullies. They always want to get back at somebody else, don't they?
I know, but does it make them pay pay attention to how they're coming across?
Well, it certainly would. Yeah, he might analyse his reflection in the mirror with a little bit more scrutiny if he was getting beaten up and called ugly freak every day. But I don't think it would have done him any good.
If he was working in an ordinary office then, and he found out that people thought his hair was, would you think he would go into the chemist and buy some gel?
If he had any sense, he would. Yeah, because most of us want to fit in, don't we?
And if you worked in the same office as him, okay, and he was another, what do you do?
I'd probably take the mickey out of him behind his back.
No, sorry, what do you do?
What do you mean, what do I do?
For a living, if anything.
I
You don't
sell
have to.
records.
Sell records, okay. All right, then if he was working in the same shop as you, or whatever you do, and would you take him to one side over a half and say to him that he ought to think about his image a little bit?
No, because he wouldn't thank me for it, would he? He wouldn't appreciate it. He'd
No.
probably just think, who the hell are you to tell me, you know, what's so great about your appearance?
Yes.
People don't really tend to appreciate home truths like that. It's like if your wife asked you if they look fat in a dress.
Yes.
They don't really want to know, do they?
Has anybody ever told you a home truth?
Yes.
What?
That I'm a real blabbermouth, and I tend to put my foot in it all the time, which is something I wasn't actually aware that I did, but when I thought about it, I thought I'd do, yeah. People won't tell me any confidential secrets because they know I'll blast it around and everyone else will know within a few weeks.
I usually get the same advice, except in memo form.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Thanks for your call.
You're welcome.
Free call 0500 1053 89. Steve calls. He's on the M25. You're on Talk Radio, Steve. Good afternoon.
Oh, Tommy?
Wouldn't you rather be Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Yes, I would, yeah.
Of course you would.
I think the problem with the British, Tommy, is that we are all full of our own piss and self-importance, that we would like nothing better than to see people at the top of the tree actually getting in the sticky stuff. And I think we all, whether we like to admit it or not, Tommy, we all like to hear of people at the top having problems, and we couldn't really care about much else other than ourselves, Tommy.
I think you've got it in a nutshell, Steve. Thank you for your call. Drive safely.
You're welcome.
What's
Bye
the
now.
traffic like?
Sorry?
What's the traffic
Very
like?
good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks for your call. James is on the line, calling from Brighton. James, you're on Talk Radio. Hello.
Hello, mate.
Wouldn't you rather be Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber?
At the end of the day, yeah.
Yes, of course you would.
Of course I would.
Good honest answer.
Good honest answer, yeah.
What a guy.
I'll just get in and put on the radio, and I was listening to what you're saying about Andrew Lloyd Webber. My father went and saw Jesus Christ Superstar when it was first opened in the West End back in, about the early 70s.
Marvellous.
And he said it was one of the best shows he's ever seen.
Marvellous.
And I saw Starlight Express in Broadway, and it was absolutely superb.
Yep.
And to be honest, I think it's down to what the bloke was just speaking about. We like to put people on pedestals and then knock them for six, like, you know.
What I can't get is this. The film, the genre of film,
yeah,
is surely the ideal vehicle for a musical, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Sound of Music,
yeah.
Fantastic. Mary Poppins,
yeah.
Oklahoma,
yeah.
What was that one about the
Seven Brothers?
Marvellous. There's a coach coming in.
We can go on and on and on, really.
We could, and we will. But why have none of his musicals turned into films?
I think that's got something to do with the fact that we're based in England, and there's this big gap. Even though it's very closely knit, you've got the film industry in America.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to politics, doesn't it?
I know, but when they're looking for an idea for a musical, the Americans aren't afraid of getting hold of an English work.
Yeah.
Look at, I mean, what was West Side Story?
It was Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah, but who wrote the original plot?
I wouldn't have a clue, sorry.
Well, a bloke called Shakespeare.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ah. But it amazes me that nobody on Sunset Boulevard have ever rung him up and said, we're going to do Cats.
Yeah.
Disney, for example, is an animated version thing.
Yeah.
Odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you ask me. Because actually, I don't like going to the theatre to watch musicals. I do like watching them on the silver screen, don't you?
Why don't you like going to the theatre to watch musicals, man?
I don't like being. I don't like being around other people, and you can see them spitting. That's the other thing.
You can't see them spitting. You might have seen them spitting back in the old musical days.
No, you do. You can actually see if you're near the front when they sing out very loud. You can see their expectoration as they sing, and it just damages the majesty of the moment.
Oh, right, okay.
But you don't get that in the films, do you?
Yeah. Also, another point back to what you're saying about composers and that, about English composers. We've had quite a string of them. We've had people like Elgar and Walton and Tippett in Britain and Ireland, Holst and Bax. But these were guys who didn't necessarily want to be famous through the work that they did, and they ended up being famous through works which necessarily they didn't set out to become famous with in the first place. So Andrew Lloyd Webber's most probably the only bloke that we've had who actually set out to do things, and he's a great achiever, and he's done a lot of things which most people won't ever expect to do in a lifetime.
James, thank you for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89 as we continue to embroider the gown of Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber's success. But now at 3:30 we pause for a World Cup update with Andy Smith.
Talk to Tommy Boyds. Free call 0500 1053 89.
Good morning. It's this afternoon. Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber passed through Talk Radio a couple of days ago. You may have heard him talking with Lorraine. What a guy. I only realised as he went past me in the lift, leaving the building, that if I'd been with a couple of my mates, I'd have gone, oh, Andrew Lloyd Webber, because we men do. And it's not fair. It's jealousy, pure and simple. The guy's achievement are stacked as high as the Empire State Building compared to the Nissan hut of the average Brit man's life. Why we can't do what they do in other countries, which is to say, all hail to thee, Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber, thou art a better man than I, Lord Andrew, and I wish I was you. We can't do it. The Americans do. Other countries do. We cannot do it. So we knock. We smear. We smudge in the pub. No, Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber deserves all the praise we can possibly hap, and more. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Peter calls from Surrey. You're on Talk Radio. Peter, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, Peter.
I'm here.
You are?
I'm there, yes, exactly.
Good.
Can you hear me all right?
No, I haven't been able to get on with it.
No? Not at all?
No, get on with it, Peter.
Oh, I do beg your pardon. Well, I'd run up to tell you that although you think that Lloyd Webber's films never get made into musicals, Evita's not been a bad failure for something he made, is it?
But it's the only one, isn't it? This is the point, really.
Did Jesus Christ Superstar not make it to the box office?
Not really, no, did it?
Well, I thought it made pretty much of an impact when it came out.
No, it didn't, did it?
Well, you might not think it did.
No, it simply didn't, did it?
Well, yeah, of course it's a subjective argument, isn't it?
No, it wasn't top box office.
Well, in those days, what did make top box office?
Well, top box office films like The Sound of Music or James Bond.
There are only probably a few of those that really stand out in the memory. Each year now, we're turning out hundreds of the damn things, and there's a different sort of perspective of what's going to make it to the top. And I reckon that Jesus Christ Superstar made it, and I think Evita has been a wonderful success.
In what way? I mean, I've never met anybody who went to see it.
You haven't? Oh, well, you must live a sheltered life. It's on the telly, I think, isn't it, this week? It's coming out somewhere.
Yes, well, so
video
what?
Sales were superb, were huge. There were queues in the video shops to get it when it first came out.
Look, I don't understand what your problem is. What we're doing in this hour of the programme is celebrating Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber and merely wondering why it is that so few of his musicals have been turned into films because they'd be so good.
I rang up to say...
Surely.
Contrary to what you said none of them had. And I thought I just wanted to bring your attention to the fact that this marvellous musician has produced two that have been accepted very widely, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Well, you can be as sure as you like. But we've only got your word for that, and we're fascinated by your surety. But he's made better musicals than Evita.
I don't think so. I think that's the one that's the real star. I think also when he was partnered with Tim Rice, the lyrics were as good as his brilliant music. You know, and I don't think it's quite as good anymore.
Really? Very interesting. Sad that you should know that. Have you got friends?
Well, I think I've got a few.
Yes. Do you talk about Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber in glowing terms?
Yes,
when you're having a game of darts?
Haven't played darts for a little while, too busy out on the cricket and rugby fields, but...
yeah, I'll bet.
I must say that when we come off the rugby pitch and drop in the old job strap, the last thing you talk about is musicians normally.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Why is that, then?
Well, normally other things to talk about, like the game you just played, but...
yeah. But you see the point. It's considered manly to mock Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, I quite agree. I would gladly have taken his place and swapped in life with him at any stage, quite honestly.
Yes, I'm sure you would.
Yes, exactly. But there was a guy on earlier who said he wouldn't have swapped it.
No, it's amazing that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you would have done.
Well, you think he might be a terribly good-looking guy and be able to attract almost any woman he wants to, but it just goes to show that if you've got other qualities...
You should meet him, you know. I'm sure you and he would get on like a house on fire.
What, the last caller or Mr. Lloyd Webber?
No, you and Lloyd Webber. Really?
Well, I'd like to meet him. I'd like to pat him very firmly on the back and thank him for him.
I'm sure you would. A soulmate indeed.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, Peter, lovely to talk to you. Next time you're on the radio, just get on with it.
Yes, exactly. I wasn't quite sure I was through.
No.
These are wonderful things, these hands-free devices on mobiles phones, but they don't quite give you the same feel and comfort as having your head to a handset.
Happy selling.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Tom calls from North London. Tom, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tom. It's nice to speak to you. I'll get straight to the point. I used to work for Amblin Entertainment, which was Spielberg's company.
Marvellous.
Based in London, animation-wise. You were talking about Andrew Lloyd Webber. I was actually employed for 3 months on the first draft of Cats, which was going to be turned into an animation come slightly live-action film. The plug was pulled on it mainly because of arguments between, well, not so much arguments, technical arguments on the actual format of the film, technical format of the film, and especially the music content of the film, whereas Lloyd Webber wanted a more musical cartoon come live action. They were going to split it technically between animation and live action backgrounds. Yeah.
Because there isn't really a story in Cats, is there, as such?
I'll tell you what, I only read the script once and I've forgotten it already, and that was about 6 years ago.
I went to see the preview of it. A friend of mine knew the woman who was doing some of the choreography or something like that. I was sat behind Princess Margaret.
She's a nice lady.
Very nice lady, very nice lady. She had 2 men with her, one sat either side of her. And at half-time, right, we went into this room, and they were handing round glasses of chilled white wine or red wine. And she lit up and she went, "No thanks, I'll have a large scotch."
Good on her, that's
and
my
I thought,
tipple.
yes, yes, yes.
My family call me JD.
Good boy.
Because I like JD whiskey.
That's by the by, I guessed that.
Yeah, all right, I'm going back to my painting. Take care.
Oh, all right then, cheerio. I can't remember what the point was, really. Oh, yes, there's not much of a plot in Cats. Free call 0500 1053 89. He's done wonders for the British bloodstock industry, Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber and his wife. They're probably Britain's number 3 supporter of horse racing, and we all have agreed on how important that is, both flat, I think, and also the jumps. He's provided tens of thousands of people with jobs, and no doubt through the export of his wonderful tunes, he has made this country even richer than it is. And yet men still go if he crops up in the conversation. Why? They wouldn't do it anywhere else. Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
And for listening, free call 0500 1053 89 now.
Webber, what a guy. Simon calls from Hampshire. Simon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tommy. But once again, you're talking absolute rubbish. Andrew Lloyd Webber he's just such a pompous moron. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to his music. The only attraction his music has is because it's all upper class. He appeals to the upper classes, and people aspire to be upper class, and they think it's fashionable, and that they're going to be associated with the upper class if they like his music and if they like him. Nobody really likes him. I think it's like opera music. It's just an upper class fashion thing, and people go there because they think they're being fashionable, they think they're increasing their status, and they're not, because it's just rubbish. And Andrew Lloyd Webber, to think this man has made so much money out of such drivel is absolutely appalling, when I'm here on the breadline working my fingers to the bone, and look at him.
So, Simon doesn't think much of Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber. Stay with us, Simon. Brian has called from Pembroke, and I'm not sure whether Brian entirely agrees with what you've had to say, Simon. Brian, you're through to Simon.
Good afternoon, Simon. Well, personally, Simon, I'm not going to offend you, my dear man, but I think you're actually talking dribble, and I'll tell you why. I was involved in the very first production of Jesus Christ Superstar in the suburban theatres. It's not for the affluent. I've seen working class people go, road sweepers. This is what Webber did. He took theatre from the high-class minority, which you're claiming that it's only for, and he took it and he gave it into street level, so that everyone could enjoy it, Simon.
No, you don't understand. You've completely missed the point. The reason these lower-class street sweepers or whatever are going to see him is because they want to be upper class. That's where the essential piece of his popularity lies. It's the fact that he's completely associated with the upper class, and that lower class want to go to see him because they want to try to improve themselves and see to raise their status, and it's just ridiculous.
Simon, his theatre was about education, about entertainment.
No, it wasn't. It was about making himself money.
Hang on, let me finish, Simon. People didn't go to be upper class. You're born upper class, Simon. You should know that.
Exactly. I know that, and I know that it's essentially upper class people that he appeals to, and that's why the other people, the lower classes, they want to look like and be like the upper classes. You were wrong.
No, they don't, Simon. They wanted to be entertained, and the type of music
there is absolutely no entertainment in what Andrew Lloyd Webber does.
They wanted to be entertained in music that they could all understand. It's not complicated. It has good melodies, good tunes for everyone to enjoy. I mean, when I was involved in the original production of Superstar up in Aberdeen and Glasgow and Edinburgh, audiences came in from all over. I mean, as I said, road sweepers, fish market porters, just ordinary, Joe public. They could enjoy his music without feeling that it was a class thing, unlike ballet and opera,
Nobody enjoys his music. It's absolute rubbish. There's nothing entertaining about the music of Lloyd Webber. It's absolute drivel. There's more entertainment if you put the radio on or on the television, music everywhere.
Well,
Andrew Lloyd Webber is just a lower standard. Andrew Lloyd Webber is a lower standard. There is nothing to his music. There's nothing entertaining about it, and that is why it baffles me about the attraction of him. There's just nothing entertaining about him.
Yeah, I find his music very entertaining. I find his lyrics very entertaining.
Well, you're not exactly speaking from an impartial position, are you? Being involved with the production of one of his shows.
Simon, I'm speaking from the past tense. Superstar went out 20 years ago, Simon. I am now a retired tree surgeon. I've been involved in surgery for many, many years. I haven't been near the theatre for 20 years. I'm very impartial, I can assure you.
Well, I think I'm more impartial, seeing that I've never been to an Andrew Lloyd Webber, I've never been involved with an Andrew Lloyd Webber production. You obviously have been, and, you know, you've been taken in by it all.
And just before Brian answers your point there, Simon, just harking back to one conversation that I do remember having with you some months ago on this show. You're not by any chance concerned, are you, in any way, about the boys that are performing on the stage with Andrew Lloyd Webber?
I see where you're coming from, Tommy, and that wasn't in my mind, but now come to think of it, as I've said before, dancers, ballet dancers, whatever, the male variety, more often than not, they are homosexuals.
You're the queer boy hater. Well,
how dare you? How dare you say this?
You're a queer boy hater. You're worse than Oswald Mosley, man, you know?
What?
You're worse than Oswald Mosley. You know, I'm glad I'm talking uniform. Now I know who you are. You're this type of person that would oppress people. You're an oppressor, Simon.
I'm a realist. I am a realist.
Anyone is different, you know? You want to oppress them. You want to put them up against the cross and nail them to the cross, you know?
Only certain people that do bad for society. Like you!
That's what you want to do. Why can't you just let people live and be as they are?
I'll do that when they let me live and be as I am.
The people are entitled to live.
I will let people live when they let me live.
Simon, they're nowhere near you. Your opinions, I must be honest, I've listened to you for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'm going to turn round and I'm sorry, Simon, I'm going to offend you. You are a racist, pompous ass.
How dare you insult
but
me?
You are.
You talk about pomposity, you utter hypocrite. Listen to you.
No,
You're an absolute hypocrite.
I totally don't accept any of that, Simon. I let people live the way that you should do. If someone's homosexual,
you're narrow-minded.
Listen, brother.
You are so narrow-minded. Believe, man, you are so narrow-minded, you just can't see what the real world's like.
Simon, if you knew the type of life I lived, son, you would not say I was narrow-minded.
Well, I'm just glad I don't know the type of life you live.
Really. Anything but.
Brian, I'm going to thank you very much indeed for your call. And Simon, it was refreshing and interesting to get your insights into the issue of the status of Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Bye. Free call 0500 1053 89. Can of worms, I think. Can of worms. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Call 0500 1053 89. 0500 1053 89.
Steve's our next caller, calling from Oxford. You're on Talk Radio, Steve.
Hello.
Steve.
Yes.
Wouldn't you rather be Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Not really, no.
Oh, you would.
I've got nowhere near like his musical skills, I'm afraid.
No, but if you were him, then you would have.
Maybe, but I'd still rather be me.
And you'd have a huge mansion as well.
I mean, it's okay if you've earned it, I guess, but I'm happy with what I've got.
But he's having a great life, isn't he?
Oh, it certainly is, yes.
I mean, it's better than yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so, if you count the material things as having a better life, yeah. But I don't begrudge him what he's got. He's earned it. He's deserved it.
Good for you.
But,
How very American of you.
Sorry?
How very American of you not to begrudge him his success.
Oh, certainly not. No, he certainly deserves it. He deserves what he's got. I'm content with what I've got.
Good.
I'd like more, but I don't begrudge people that have got it. And I've also seen one of his shows, and they're thoroughly enjoyable. So
which one?
Sorry, Jesus Christ Superstar.
I always think it's odd that.
It's a brilliant show. I saw it up in London with Jason Donovan, and it was fantastic. Really, really good.
They made a musical, didn't they, out of, the life of a prophet like that?
Oh, yes, I suppose.
But you wouldn't get them making a musical out of the life of Muhammad?
I suppose not, no. I suppose that's
no, they wouldn't, mate.
That's the Britishness of, we can take our perspective of Christianity maybe a little bit more lightheartedly.
Or Buddha?
Well, no, I suppose I admire those religions, and they've got very good points. But I think the quirk of Christianity is we can take it perhaps a little bit more lightheartedly and a little bit more irreverent.
I wonder where he gets the subjects for his musicals from, though, when you think about it.
Oh, who knows?
Well,
if we knew that, we'd be Lloyd Webber, wouldn't we?
Well, one was our prophet, Christ.
Yeah.
Another one was the wife of a fascist dictator in Argentina.
True, very true.
Then Pussycats, roller skates, and most recently a movie with Hayley Mills in it.
But wasn't Cats based on the poetry of Edward Lear?
Well, still Pussycats, any way you run it.
Well, yes, that's true.
I think it's T.S. Eliot, but anyway, doesn't matter. Neither here nor there.
Sorry, Eliot, sorry.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to phone up to correct the last caller that was saying that Lloyd Webber wasn't entertaining, and I found him thoroughly entertaining, and I'm definitely not upper class.
You're not, are you?
But I enjoy what I've got, and I enjoy what other people can produce, and recognise the skill in it.
May the future belong to you, sir. Thank you for your call.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Anne calls from Hertford. Anne, you're on Talk Radio. Hello. I think we've got Anne. We'll go to Richard.
Hello?
Anne, there you are. I beg your pardon. My fault. Hello.
Nobody's mentioned Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
No.
And I think just about every school in the country has produced it in one way or another.
I closed my eyes. You did, didn't you?
We did a concert version, not the play, because it was a small school, so the children had a chance to sing. But it's fantastic, and if people say it's an upper class or middle class province of Andrew Lloyd Webber, they're completely wrong.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I haven't seen many. I've seen the early ones, the Evita and obviously Joseph. And
does she come out of it well, Evita?
I enjoyed the stage show. I didn't enjoy the film so much, actually.
Do they play her up in it? I haven't seen it. Does she come out of it well?
Yes.
Does she?
Yes, she does.
Oh.
So I think it was glorified and whatever. Yeah.
What?
I don't know what else he should do.
A military junta? A military junta?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he should do. I don't know what he'd turn to next. He does find odd subjects. You're quite right about that.
Yeah.
One I enjoyed enormously, I don't think it's been a show, actually, is Tell Me on a Sunday.
No.
As far as I know, that was just, I don't know whether it was on the radio or television or something.
No.
But I don't think they've made a stage show of it. And I think it was his, says she, quickly.
And thank you for your call. Here is Richard in Derby. You're on Talk Radio, Richard.
Hi, Tommy.
Richard.
I've got sat in front of me a board game called Calamity, which is actually an insurance board game designed by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
You're winding me up.
I'm not. I don't know where the game come from. My dad gave it me years ago. I'm looking at the instructions. It's got a date of 1983. Now, I don't know where he bought it from, but I do know that Lloyd Webber used to drink in my dad's local in Kintbury. So whether he bought it or whether he got it from him, I've no idea.
And is it properly manufactured?
Properly manufactured,
Really?
made by Games Workshop.
Right, and it's based on the wacky world of
Insurance,
insurance. And so what do you have to do then? Sell the most insurance?
Well, you basically have to buy and sell insurance policies, and whoever's got the most money at the end of the game wins.
Wow!
I was just listening to the show, and I suddenly thought, I've got that somewhere.
I've got that. Calamity.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know anybody who's ever heard of it.
Right.
Apart from me.
Do you suppose he's lain awake at night then and thought, insurance, there's something there. It's either a board game or a musical.
I've no idea, Tommy, to be honest.
It sounds more like a board game to me. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, if that's what he was doing at night, then he leads a very sad life.
Richard, it's been a delight talking to you. Thank you for your call.
Thanks, Tommy. Cheers.
Stand by for Ian Collins, who is next. I look forward to talking with you from 2 tomorrow. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listeners.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.